Alright, so today we're welding on this 8 bung onto this timing cover. Alright, so you got these two little embossings on this timing cover. I'm putting it right up above this second one. And I'm just going to weld it on, weld it out, and then after I get it welded out, I'm going to drill it. And I've also got my nephew, he's behind me over here putting the cam in the motor, and when we get this welded out, we'll go see what he's doing. So we got the bung welded on, and it doesn't look good. Let me show you. There it is. It don't have to look pretty, it just has to be effective. I'm gonna take a fitting and screw onto it and make sure it fits good still. And it does. Now I'm gonna drill it out. Now I'm gonna go in on the back side of it with one that's slightly bigger and just get the beginning of it. Stay out of the fitting. You can tell this thing's thicker than I ever thought it was. So over here on this motor, we've already got a BTR3 in it and the BTR3 springs, and they're the beehive springs. We're pulling those off, putting the dual springs on it, and we're putting this Texas speed cam in. There's the specs. So the new spring kit comes with everything you need. Retainers, the little keepers, and it comes with special valve stem seals, and it even says on the spring kit, don't use that style and use this style. And something else that we haven't shown is we've already installed a trunnion kit using big lift cams. These have a tendency to come apart, and I put a brown Thule trunnion kit in it to keep that from happening. We haven't tried that plastic trick I seen on the
Not interested in trying that. That's the right way.
That's funny. You want a screwdriver?
3/8 extension.
We got the cam swapped over yesterday, and today, before I put this motor in, I'm going to address this rear temperature port. I'm going to be using just an old school temperature gauge in my car, and you can buy an adapter to go from this metric fitting to one of these fittings. Okay, so if I put that metric fitting in, then I screw one of these in, then I screw this in, the thing's gonna be sticking way out here. It's pretty ugly. So why not just drill and tap the head to accept this 1/4 inch fitting to start with and eliminate that adapter? If you go buy one of these kits, it comes with, I don't know, 4 or 5 of these different adapters. 1/2 inch, 3/8, and 1/4. Might even have a 3/4. But anyways, I got the fitting that screws right onto this. It's 1/4 inch pipe thread. And the 1/4 inch pipe thread pretty much will go right in there and start tapping it. I don't have to do anything to it. It's pretty much the right size. It's aluminum, it's pretty soft. And get it nice and straight to start with. Put some cutting oil on it. It'd be bad to screw something up right now, wouldn't it? Man. Man, it looks pretty good. I want to give you a close up. It's about as close as I can get. I gotta clean it out a little bit. So in case you're wondering if this is going to bottom out without the adapter, this will go all the way in and sit flush with the head. So it's not going to bottom out. But I'm going to put some pipe dope on it. I'm just going to run it right in there. You can take a shop vac, clean the hole out, blow it out with a blower. That's all I do. Snug it up pretty tight. And now we're ready ready to go for a temperature sending unit without an adapter. Didn't cost a thing. And it works out great. We're at a spot to where this stuff gets really confusing, and there's a lot of questions out there for what we're doing right now. And that's, do we need a spacer or not? And I don't have all those answers. I don't have hardly any of them at all. I typically have to call somebody and start asking some questions or looking on the internet. But what I do have an answer for here is this crank come out of a 2006 van with a 6-liter. And when I went out to pull my flywheel off the wall, I got about 10 of them out there. I found my 06 6-liter. It had the bolts zip tied to it. And it's also got a spacer wired in it. It's going back in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to test fit everything out here. I'm not going to be underneath the car trying to figure this out. I got a stall converter over here. I want to bolt this up to the motor, and I'm going to pull my stall converter out, and I'm going to see if it fits in the this spacer. If it doesn't, do I need to take it off? Just, there's going to be a lot of questions here, but I'm going to figure it out right here. This one come off of this crank, and it's going back on it. So if I take a straight edge, anytime I've ever worked on one of these, I've always measured, and I've always come up with right at 7/8 of an inch. And all I'm going to do is go from one side of the flywheel to the other, and I'm going to measure off the block. I don't want it on this spacer. I don't want it on the nuts. I just want it flat on the flywheel. And anytime I've ever done this, I've come up with right at 7/8. And I'm right at 7/8. And anytime I've ever put it across the transmission, which I'll show you here in just a second, to the stall converter, I've had right at 1 1/16 inches. And that's basically the two measurements that you're going to end up needing. Loctite and torque. Now for the stall. So we're going to make sure that the torque converter fits the flywheel with the little spacer that's in between it. So I don't have any bolts in this thing right now. Need to make sure that fits right in here the way it's supposed to, and this one does. You want to pour some transmission fluid into your converter before you install your converter, and that's what I'm doing. Everybody always says, I throw a quart of fluid in it. I don't think you can fit a quart of fluid in one, but I'm just going to put as much as I can in it. And you always spill some whenever you're putting it in anyways. But probably got about a half a quart in it. Something I'm dealing with is a bad back, and I can't be doing this stuff. And I catch myself on camera with my back going out. Anyways, I gotta try to be as careful as I can without throwing my back out. So you just want to spin it So if I have it in far enough, I don't know. Let's just check. So I'm gonna go off of one of these pads. And I need at least 1 inch and 30 thousandths. And I'm at 9/16. Gotta keep it. Whoops, there it went. Was that enough? That looks like it's it. And I got 1 inch and 1/16. If the gap between the stall converter and the mounting hole is greater than 0.187 or 3/16, you've got to add a spacer between the stall converter and the flex plate. Something like an 1/8 inch spacer. You don't want to pull this converter back out of the transmission more than 3/16 of an inch, or what will happen is the converter will pull out of the pump and destroy it, or it just won't work. And we're going to go ahead and put the converter bolts in it. I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel. I'm almost out of Loctite. All I need is enough for 3 more. It's early. Parts stores aren't even open yet. I'm going to go ahead and put the balancer on it. And you can get a balancer install kit basically any auto parts store. Just get one online. But you screw the adapter bolt in. There's no keyway on these, but I do want to put a little bit of lube on it. Wipe off the excess. So you pour your balancer all the way in till it's nice and snug. Take your kit back off. Put some blue Loctite on it and torque it down. Into a Milwaukee torque. I'm going to go ahead and quit right here for today. The next video is going to be stabbing this motor and transmission back down in the car. Got quite a bit to do there, so tune back in. Thanks.